If we can move now, conference, to Amendment D, and I would ask Dr. Timothy Rideout to propose the amendment, to be followed by Cameron Archibald.
This debate is about Scotland's control of its economic policy. The fact is that if we use sterling, our monetary policy, so that's the interest rate, the exchange rate, the money supply and the inflation rate, will all be set in London. And our scope for fiscal policy, so what we tax and spend, will be limited. Worse, there will be no lender of last resort in Scotland and no viable insurance of bank deposits. Paying out the Scottish depositors of even a small bank like the Clydesdale would cost 30 billion in currency we do not have, which would be about half the revenues of the Scottish Government for a year. The result is clear. We would not have real independence, we would have risk, and EU rules mean that without your own currency you can't rejoin the EU. So let's discuss the tests. Test 1, deficit and debt. Well, as has already been said this afternoon, we don't have any debts, as that's not allowed at the moment. And if we borrowed 12 billion a year for 15 years, we would just reach the average debt level of an EU member country. So where's the problem that this test addresses? Test 2, a credible central bank. The job of a central bank is to issue and manage a currency. If there is no currency, it's not a central bank, and it can't be credible. So this is a catch-22 test. Test 3, does it meet the needs of the people and business? The only difference is the picture on the banknote and a new name. Your wage is the same, the prices in the shops are the same, it's all voluntary anyway. So why would it not meet our needs? Reserves, test 4. Seriously? We're going to get rid of the JERS deficit, run a surplus to put savings into a reserves piggy bank, while austerity crashes the economy and the SNP is booted out of government. The test is also irrelevant, as the new currency will not be handed out for free. Every new note issued has to be bought with sterling handed in to the equivalent amount. The currency actually starts automatically with 100% reserves. That could be 50 billion. That's 5 times what Finland has, and it's actually more than the 55 billion US dollars that the Bank of England has. Test 5, does it fit our trade patterns? 50% of food and drink goes to the EU, 6% of whiskey goes to the UK. If you know what this test is about, send me an email. Test 6, have we decoupled from the UK business cycle? We certainly should ditch UK mismanagement, but we never will do that by using sterling and having our policies decided for us in London. The only way to decouple is to have your own currency. So to conclude, and slightly misquoting Macbeth, if 'twere done, then 'twere best done quickly. Please vote for Amendment D, a new currency as soon as practicable and as agreed by Parliament after Independence Day.
Thank you, Timothy.
How many of those 111 new members of the United Nations in the last 60 years use somebody else's currency with no control over that currency? I'll leave that hanging. Our own currency, I would agree, does not guarantee economic success. I wouldn't say that it, I would never say that it did. However, getting your currency wrong and using sterling with no control over it, no control over your economic policy, has the potential to completely sabotage the foundation of the new country, or the re-established country. If we are sterlingized, for example, for 5 years and there is any financial crisis, we will be unable to do anything about it. We'll be grovelling to the Bank of England asking for a bailout, to which they will delight in saying no. Our doorstep position has to be clear. Now, I've told you that I think the 6 tests are mostly rubbish, and if they are unlikely to be achieved or they're either irrelevant, I don't want to be standing on the doorstep trying to explain to a confused voter what 6 tests are. I want to be standing there saying we will continue to use sterling until such time as it is the earliest practicable date for introducing our own currency. And I hope that that will be a very short date, but I agree that that is up to the Parliament at the time. And that is really very clear. It cannot be attacked by unionists. We're going to use sterling, and as soon as we possibly can, we will introduce our own currency. No argument, no ifs, no buts, no means of attack. What as soon as practicable actually means will be determined by Parliament and our MPs and so on in 5 years' time or whenever it is. So I would urge you to vote for Amendment D and set a clear policy that we can explain on the doorstep and win the referendum.
Thank you, Timothy.